Hello, this is Lee Anthony Davis returning with episode 4 of Planet of the Spiders. A warm welcome if you're joining me, or thank you for watching this live stream all the way through. So, anyway, here we go. We've got episode 4, as I said. This is the one I've chosen for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. And so, let's get on with it. Episode 4 of Planet of the Spiders. Right, that's the music. As soon as the music's done, I will turn it down and just go through it with you descriptively and explain what's going on. So, obviously, I can't sort of leave it on, but I'll try next time. I might do that if I do one of these again. So, anyway, I'm nearly there. Three, as I say, 3 down, 3 to go. Here we go. Right, here we go then. The Doctor is now running to the TARDIS. He's gone in. This is where we left it off last time. Now, before we get to that point, because I've already explained what was happening in the last video, the characters that I was looking for were Tua, played by Ralph Arness. That he is one of the brothers. The other brother is Arak, played by Gareth Hunt. And also, you've got his sister, Riga, Joanna Monroe, and of course, Moss, who wears that green mossy jersey as one of the 4 who are involved in that little circle of Luptons. It's played by Terence Lodge. Terence Lodge has appeared in Doctor Who 3 times before. His last appearance is more rememberable for his last one, which was in the Carnival of Monsters, where he played one of those aliens dressed up in white makeup, along with Michael Winner. So mostly the actors that are used in this have been in Doctor Who before, especially in the John Pertwee era. So remember that. Right, we're in the fight scene here. Remember, Terry Walsh is used a lot, especially when falling on the floor. John can't fall on the floor because he's got a dodgy knee. So Terry Walsh takes over. But they do a lot of editing and back shots. That's Terry Walsh, as I said, because it's a back shot. John Pertwee is shown at the front, so it's re-edited. Then John, as he tries to make a dash for the TARDIS or try and get away, a bolt of light is thrown from the guard's hand. Now there's unrest with the natives. The guards can't keep them back. One of the guards has gone to the Queen Spider and says, "Look, we better leave. It's looking very, very ugly." The audience is getting very ugly. Right, moving on. So they head back, and obviously Elizabeth Sladen, who has sort of been camouflaged with one of those, I think they're called, what's the woman's thing you put around their head and all that, scarf or whatever. She's got one of these sort of things over her, so she can't be recognised. Well, I could see her a mile off. But anyway, we now move to the shot where Mike Yates is listening at the door because the other 3 are wondering how Lupton is going to get back. So anyway, we move to another scene where Sarah has got the Doctor, holding the Doctor, but he's obviously been damaged by the bolt of electricity from the guards, who has sort of he's not dead, but he's near to death. But as this is his final adventure, it's obvious he's going to regenerate at the end of this adventure. So anyway, Sarah believes that he's still alive, and she's right. Here we are back in the room with the conspirators again. There's all 3 of them, Lands, Moss, and then we got the second in command of this, if you want to call it, played by Christopher Burgess. I'll just try and get his name quickly. His character, that is. Christopher Burgess is here somewhere. I'm just checking now. There's so many actors in this, it's very hard to keep up. But I can find him somewhere. Here we are. He's playing Barnes. I managed to keep my notes together there. So anyway, these 3 don't know what to do. And then Mike Yates is listed, is there. He's listened at the door, but we get Tommy instead. Tommy's listening. But the problem is Tommy doesn't understand what's going on. He thinks it's all a game. He's saying, I spy with my little eye. And then Barnes says, can you not read? Do not disturb. No, he can't read, Barnes. That's why he finds the whole thing funny. Then he goes to his little cupboard and to find out what do not disturb. Well, you know what I mean. So anyway, he goes to the cupboard. Then we come to a scene. It's going to cut out in a second. No, it doesn't. It stays on it. It's actually Mike Yates has been listening from another door. He goes to that door again where he was listening and to see what they're up to. Now we cut back to the doctor, Sarah, Tua, and of course Arak, and the mother, and of course Jonah Munro, who plays Riga. Sarah Jane there saying that he's alive. The doctor needs something to actually sort of, find his energy back, because he's been sort of zapped by this spider's power from this crystal. So anyway, Sarah suggests that she goes and finds it. So it's basically in the TARDIS. It's a machine that the doctor puts on his finger, and it draws out the bad energy that's damaged him. Right, we come to the next scene here, which is where the spider is brought into the throne room, and guess who's waiting for her? Lupton and the conspirator spider that have joined forces. And Lupton has to sort of bluff his way with them about he's got the crystal. I never said I had it, but I know where it is. I'm sure you do. But he's about to be arrested, and then the conspirator spider, the one that's joined forces with him, who wants power on Metabilis 3, has decided to agree with him. And then the moment comes when the Queen says, we know you haven't got it. Do not deny it. So anyway, here we go. He says, I never said I had it, but I know where it is. So anyway, we come to this point where it's a bit of banter between 1 and 2, but Lupton and the Queen Spider. So this takes me an opportunity, basically, to say I appreciate everyone who comes on here to watch likes. I know it's probably not your cup of tea for a live stream like this, but I haven't done one for about 2 years, so I thought I'd try it out, the machine. This is the one I'm using now. It's my laptop. I usually do my mobile phone to record videos and stuff, but it's not bad. I've tried it. I've looked at it. It seems to be doing well. So I've got a good quality picture from it when I look back on the videos. So anyway, let's move back on to where I was. We're now where Tommy is. He's just taken the crystal out, and now he's going to read a book. It's a sort of ladybird book, by the way. So he's going to read it like this. The Queen went through the door. And then he looks at the crystal, because he feels something's going to happen. And then he looks again after reading another line, and then suddenly the crystal comes to life. It shines a blue light, and Tommy looks into it, and obviously it's going to clear his mind, and he's going to be a different person when he regains consciousness. So he falls to the floor, out cold, and then we cut to the scene with the doctor mumbling something about some machine that he needs from the TARDIS, and Sarah is going to get it for him. But unfortunately, what she doesn't know, Lupton and the guards are waiting for her. Now we cut back to Tommy again. He's recovered, and he starts reading words as if to him, it comes so easy when he was struggling, Now he says, then we write our news. And he's not got that accent anymore, he seems to be talking in a very, very sort of intellectual tone. So here we are. He reads all the lines, and he's established he can read. Right, we cut back to the hut with the two brothers and sister and the doctor and Sarah. Now this is the point where Sarah goes out and gets the machine for the doctor. The two brothers are arguing. One of them, Tua, calls his brother a coward. And then Arak says, I ran that down your throat. And we start having a little row before the sister steps in, played by Joanna Munro Regar. She was also, Regar, the actress who plays her, Joanna Munro, she was remembered also later on for appearing in the popular nurses soap opera called Angels. And also there was another famous actor who went into Doctor Who after that. His name was Mark Strickson. He was in that as well, and he was I think he was a junior doctor or something, a training doctor. He was in that for a few years as well, from 1978 as well. So he has already something under his belt before he appeared in Doctor Who. Right, so there you go. We're back to Jon Pertwee again, and this time he's mumbling something about putting it on his finger, this machine. So Sarah goes out to go and get it. This is where she leaves, but unfortunately she gets caught. So she's not going to achieve it. But she leaves it outside the TARDIS. We're back, but we cut from that back to, I think it is... no, we're still there again. She's just left with the TARDIS key, the new TARDIS key, by the way. It's a different design from the other ones. I think it's a Yale, a Yale one. Anyway, never mind. So she makes it to the TARDIS without being spotted by the curfew. She hides behind some sacks. 2 guards, or 3, is it? No, 2 walk past with their magic wands, as they say. She goes in to the TARDIS right now. And then we cut back to Arak and Tua. Tua saying, I'm sorry for calling you a coward. Right, okay. Sarah leaves the bag in question with the machine, locks the TARDIS door, and then suddenly, if by magic, Lupton appears. So anyway, he says, like a good journalist, you would like a story. So she's arrested. They take her to the lard, as they say. So anyway, so it's time for Arak to try and get the bag. He peeps out the door. He's going to do that in a minute. And then he's going to see the machine in the bag in question. He's got to go and get it. This scene was done a few times. They were going to make it more difficult for him to get the bag by having guards everywhere, but they decided to cut short the time on this one, so they just made it easy for him, so he could just go and run and then run back. There's the bag. It's on the floor where Sarah left it, and now it's up to Arak to go and get it, which obviously he does. So I hope you're brought up to speed with this adventure. I always think this was probably John's best adventure. I thought Inferno was good, but this one, being his swan song, he had everything in it, didn't he? All the James Bond stuff, the action part with the mobile Hoovermobile, whatever you call it, and of course it's classed as a float because it's on wheels, but it can't fly, I can assure you. Also the gyrocopter, not forgetting that, and the hovercraft. So they've really gone out all for Jon Pertwee on this one. John is now requesting, the doctor that is now requesting he puts it on his finger, this machine, so it draws out the energy that has damaged him. So he becomes, so he needs to rest after this, and then he actually recovers, and he does wakey, rise and shine, everything's nice, it's fine, it's going to be all right, or something like that. It's an old Navy term, but John included this in his lines. He included this because he was in the Navy, believe it or not, in the Second World War. So but there's other lines, and there's also an inappropriate line as well that he couldn't use. It was another sort of roll call, I used to call them, but it was too inappropriate to put into a line in here. But John did include that, so that was John's own idea to put that in. Right, okay, we're back with Tommy. He's looking at more books to show that he can read them all. So it's looking good. We're getting towards the climax of this episode. Tommy realizes he can read, and he also begins to realize his awareability tells you that he knows what's going on. He knows what the others have been up to. He begins to sense it, and he goes to the abbot, who we had not seen, played by George McCormack. Now, George was in the episode with John Pertwee called The Time Monster. He played King Peladon or something like that. No, not King Peladon, King Falea or something like that. He always plays old parts because he looks old. That's nothing to do with him. Oh, Sarah's just been thrown onto the floor, and there's got Lupton smiling over her. And then you got Moss panicking as usual because he's because Captain Yates. Well, I keep saying Captain Yates. He's no longer Captain Yates. He's just Mike Yates. Mike Yates knocks on the door, and Moss is hiding behind the door with a bit of fucking lead pipe in. For God's sake, it's going to knock him out. So anyway, Mike comes through the door and he says, "I've been listening, and I know what you have been up to. We must talk." So as he comes through the door a little bit further, Moss clouts him one at the back of the head, and that's Mike out for the count for a few minutes. And then, obviously, they said, "What did you do that for?" "Well, you heard him. He's heard everything. He's going to go to the police." They panicked because it's obviously it's becoming a bit more dodgy now for them because the game is up. That they've been doing things they shouldn't be doing it in away from what they've been told that the meditation's for. So anyway, Mike has heard everything. He's been clouted, so he's now part of it. Right, okay, then Sarah is now in the what you call the larder. She's in one of those white cocoons. Elizabeth Sladen says, "I would have preferred it if they had gone the full hog and covered it over her head as well, you know, like well, you can see her head, but sort of put the sort of white material so it's see-through, but with her head inside it." Anyway, she's not covered completely. Now we cut back to the scene with the doctor who's recovered. He's now eating some sort of broth or something, mutton broth, I think it is. And he's having a chat with Arak, and he's trying to find out how the spiders got here. So anyway, there we go. He tells him the story. It's a two-way thing, this, funny enough, because it cuts to Sarah and his father telling the story of the spider as well. So it's a two-way thing. So they've done it like they cross over. He tells a bit, then her father tells the other bit, because they are in cocoons tied up. So it's quite good how they do it, you know, how they crisscross, but with the same story. So anyway, his brother says, "You just stand there talking like old men in a market, old women in a market," or something like that. So anyway, so there is the doctor finding out what's going on, how they got here. And then we cross back to the story with the father and Sarah, who are both in cocoons. So I think I think you're up to speed now. I think you know what's going on. So I can't really tell you more until I see another scene because I'll be just rabbiting on. I don't want to bore you to death. So anyway, it's quite unusual to see Sarah looking like this, you know, with her hairstyle and everything, because when you know her later on, she's totally different. She's got her hair longer. Here it's quite short. It's like it's sort of I don't know, sort of, I don't want to say it's a bit cruel, basin type of hairstyle. Anyway, we cut back to the doctor, and what he says to Arak is, "Find me some stones with unusual qualities." In other words, so he can combat the guards wand when they attack him, you know, so he can absorb it, you know, when the crystals are fired, you know, because electric shocks come out. And that's what done him in the first place. He had no protection, but now he has. So it's looking good. This that's why I chose this episode. Chose this adventure because it's my favourite one, Planet of the Spiders. It's got everything in it. It's got John Pertwee doing his action thing, his James Bond. It's got an old character back, Mike Yates, who's trying to redeem himself from Invasion of the Dinosaurs. And then you've got a new monster, the spiders. And it's also got the finale to it all with poor old John dying in the Cave of Crystals, knowing that the time is inevitably coming to an end, which is a shame because I loved John Pertwee as a Doctor. And I knew that, nothing lasts forever, does it? But he was great in his 5-year tenure when he was a Doctor. So anyway, he's there. He's getting the crystals. He's getting the stones. He's putting them through this machine. You know, the machine that he puts his finger in to absorbs all that bad energy that was fired upon him. And now he's found one. It makes a funny noise. So he's got something to combat the rods that have been fired by these guards. So anyway, he gives himself the machine because that will protect him, and he gives Tua and Arak their protection as well. So he's now off. We cut to the scene. Now, I did say about this, the CSO, the color super overlay in the background. There was plenty of that in this part of the story, the scene, because we're in the Planet of the Spiders now. So we're going to get a lot of CSO in the background drop or whatever. Now we've seen that, and there are also models, plenty of models about. So they're not real, even from a distance. They look quite good for the period they were done, but I think that's was it Bernard Wilkie or Matt Irving had something to do with that. Anyway, never mind. So now John is coming into the Planet of the Spiders dome, and one of the guards fires that bolt. What I was talking about, he's got protection. The guard is shocked because he didn't take him out, and there's a big fight scene here. John is thrown to the ground. He tries to pick the machine up, and then Lupton puts his hand on his puts his foot on his hand, and the Doctor does that, bang, right on his leg. So he moves away, and then Lupton says, "Kill him, kill him." He says, "No, you're under arrest. The Queen, take him to the Queen." So Paul Upton has sort of had his time of shall I say, bargaining power has gone down the plug hole, hasn't it? And the Doctor thinks that, look after him. He's got misguided and all that. And then he tries to walk. He says, "Wait." And the guard tries to arrest the Doctor. The Doctor uses his kung fu, that sort of Venusian karate, throws him away, and then he gets 2 more guards. And I like this line. This is funny. This is becoming monotonous. Anyway, he's been taken to the cell to be obviously cocooned as well. So he's under arrest. Then we cut back to Sarah and Tua and Arak's father, who's still in the there he is, John. Now, I didn't think this was much of a cliffhanger with John being caught. He points to the guards, and Sarah thinks he's come to rescue her, but he hasn't. He's also a prisoner. So that's the end of part 4. I hope you join me for part 5. I'll be starting that in about half an hour. So episode 5 of Planet of Spiders will be here. So please join me for that. Thank you for watching me. I mean, I've had a few people watching me. I'll be back in half an hour for episode 5 of Planet of the Spiders. The reason why I'm doing it is because it's Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. So if you want to join me for that, join me at roughly about 1:45. All right. Thank you for watching. Look after yourselves, and thank you. I really mean it. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.